Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Supernatural, this time episode 1104, titled Baby, which premiered on the CW on Wednesday, October 28th, 2015. And guys, this was the episode that was solely centered around the Impala's point of view. So before we get started, just a quick reminder, if you haven't seen the episode already, do so before listening to this. I'm going to spoil the hell out of the episode, so I don't want to influence your own perspective on the episode, but I gotta say, guys, it's definitely a unique experience for Supernatural, and it worked. So before I get further into it, let me just start my 10-minute clock and let's begin. So what is something new about the episode? Basically, you could kind of put in as a filler episode, case-wise, but because of that, the episode allowed us to more focus on the different viewpoint that we got to see. So it basically centered around the Impala. So every scene shot featured the Impala in some way. So usually the camera was in the back seat or on somewhere on the Impala. So there's that. Because of that, we got to see more mundane aspects to living in a car that we normally don't see on the show. So it was definitely took some getting used to, but it was definitely very interesting. But aside from that, on a main storyline point of view, we did learn that the monsters are afraid of the darkness. It's not just the demons, it's not just the angels, it's the monsters as well. And so much so that today's monster was even recruiting so that he can have his own army. Okay, so quickly, what is the most shocking moment? What was most shocking was the guest star that we got to see in Sam's vision/dream, and that was John Winchester, the younger John Winchester from the 80s, before the brothers were even born. So Matt Cohen, who plays John Winchester, he got to appear, and in the dream, it was very clear to Sam that he knew that it wasn't actually his father. So I guess we're left to assume that this version of John was possibly God putting on the face of John to kind of put Sam at ease, to see a familiar face, though it wasn't confirmed or denied that it was God. So it's just a speculation on my part that this version of John Winchester that Sam interacted with in this vision was God somehow. Okay, so top 3 favorite moments, quickly. First one has to be all the different heart-to-heart talks that we got in the Impala between Sam and Dean, especially after Sam's dream. We see them sitting in the Impala just talking about the dreams, talking about the darkness, talking about what they're going to do. They even mentioned their most frequent dream, and for Dean it was dreaming of when John was teaching Dean how to drive with Sam in the backseat. It's a recurring dream for Dean. And then Sam's dream usually involves their mom. So I just really like that they included stuff like that. They also talked about the darkness and how they're going to deal with it, or what their next move was. Also, during their car rides, they had talked about, don't you want anything more in relationships, when touching upon Sam's little fun night activities with Piper in the backseat of the Impala that Dean kind of interrupted-ish. So with that came jokes, and then which turned into, don't you wish for something more in a relationship? But since they're hunters, they don't really have that luxury. So heart-to-hearts like that. Also, we got them talking about the cases itself. So I just really like that we got to see all these different levels of conversation between them that we may not normally get on a regular show of Supernatural, because it's always the case or the current issue that takes precedent over it. And sometimes they would have talks like this, but it won't be for us to see on the screen. It's just kind of assumed that maybe that's what they talked about during the road trip, since we don't always see the full car ride, if that makes sense. Second favorite moment has to be Castiel on speakerphone while Dean's trying to deal with the deputy dumbass, they call him, who turns out to be the alpha creature of what they're dealing with. I don't even know how to pronounce it. But basically, Dean calls it a ghoul pyre, so I'll just go with that. So it was just interesting how the whole time that Castiel's on speakerphone with the phone on the dashboard of the car, talking about what this creature is, or he's talking about what the whisper is supposed to be, which is what they thought the creature was. But Dean's fighting Deputy Dumbass in the background, and we see him not only shoot the guy, but decapitate him, and like nothing's working. And then he puts the head in the cooler to kind of get it stop growling. So all while Castiel is on speakerphone, it's like, well, it kind of made me feel like, kind of like Casting Away, but I can kind of see out the corner of my eye what's happening with Dean. But it was definitely interesting and slightly amusing just to see Castiel's take on it. And the whole time in the episode, the only time we get to see Castiel at all is through his voice. We don't actually get to see him. It's just through his phone calls to the brothers, and he's trying to help them with their research while he's healing in the bunker. Okay, so the third favorite moment I had was Dean teasing Sam about his night with Piper the waitress in the backseat of the Impala. It's like Dean had this dopey grin. He was all proud of Sam, and Sam was saying, it's like, yeah, he needed that. And they were just like poking fun. And then like afterwards, it was followed by Dean putting on a song, and then they started singing along to it. It was just, I really like that. I really like the dynamic, the atmosphere of those moments. It wasn't like heavy, it wasn't life or death. It was just enjoying life in that moment with your brother, and it was a nice change to have. So that was great. Okay, my top 3 peeved moments, I actually only have 2, but the first one is actually just because of the fact that the way the episode was shot, because I'm not used to it, that was kind of where it unnerved me, because usually we have the camera focused on whatever character is talking about. Mainly it's going to follow the Winchesters around, so they're usually in the scene. But this episode, that's not the case. We have to switch it so the Impala is always centered, so we're not always going to see Sam or Dean, or we might hear them but not see them. And it's like, it got some getting used to, just because like for 200 plus episodes, it's always been shot this one way, and then this episode, it's changes your viewpoint, which was great and very interesting to see as a fan. But when you're watching it, it's kind of disorienting at first. I hope that makes sense, but I loved it. The episode was definitely up there as a unique spin on what could be considered a repeated case, I guess you could say. Go find the monster of a week and then go out and try to stop it, which may not necessarily connect to the main storyline, but in this case it works because that's not the focus. The focus is how we see how the brothers actually live life on the road, and through the eyes of their mobile home in the form of the Impala. So I'll just stop saying that. Okay, my real peeved moment of the episode was when that Jessie girl was having a joyride with the Impala. Now Jessie is the valet, and I was like, how dare she, when she just took off with the car, and then she made that phone call to her friend, and they just started going crazy with the car, spinning around. It's like, what the hell? Who drives like that in something that is not their car to begin with? And then when Dean tipped her, I was like, she does not deserve that tip at all. There's no way. And so, yeah, it just really bugged me that Dean didn't automatically know that there was something up with the car. Plus, it definitely showed that when she was driving off in the rearview mirror, you could just see the brothers just standing there. And I could just imagine Dean just glaring at her going, what the hell are you doing? But I guess there's a point to that, because the girl's purse ended up saving Dean in the moment when he used something in the purse to stop the creature. And then same with Sam's night with Piper. It proved to have a point because she left something behind that helped Dean escape while he was handcuffed in the back seat. So while those may seem like random moments, in the end they actually turned out to help the brothers. So I did like that. Still did not like that Jessie girl was driving the Impala around like she owned the thing, and that she didn't care that she owned the thing. So there's that. Okay, so what will I remember most about this episode? The fact that it was the Impala episode. I mean, you can't get much of a reminder than that. So with that done, random questions. Not that many. But number one, was that God taking the form of John Winchester to help better relate to Sam in that vision or dream? I'm thinking it is, but having actual confirmation from the show itself would be great. Second question, if God's supposed message is to tell the brothers that only they could stop the darkness, then how exactly are they supposed to achieve that without God's help? Oh, there's my timer. Wow. Okay, so how exactly does God think that they are going to defeat the darkness if they're not given anything to kind of help them? There's basically no lore about it. Anything that they do know is basically thought of as myth from the angels or the demons because they didn't believe that the darkness was alive. The only person that could tell them about the darkness could be Death himself, but Dean killed him. And so there's that. Oh, and another question. When Dean was trying to fight off the Alpha and all decapitation, shooting with silver didn't do the job, could an Angel Blade do it? I mean, I'm under the impression that the Angel Blade is kind of like the go-to weapon. It's kind of like a solution for everything. Since it does kill angels, it does kill demons, so why won't it kill a lower level creature such as this ghoul pyre that Dean calls it? I just found it weird that an Angel Blade wasn't brought up. Because I'm assuming the brothers have a few Angel Blades in the trunk of the car. So that's another question. And lastly, predictions. First one, Metatron was mentioned. And while they don't have a trail on him, I do believe he will appear soon. So definitely before the winter finale. So there's that. Second, since we didn't see Crowley or Amara this episode, I think next week we'll definitely see a different version of Amara and how Crowley is reacting to that, because last week she, I believe, was a preteen at the end of the episode. So maybe Crowley's got to deal with more attitude from someone who feeds off of souls. So there's that. And I think that Amara might not be as sated with demon souls than if she were to feed on human souls, if that makes any sense. Last prediction. There needs to be a breakthrough in the lore about the darkness. I mean, today we learned that the monsters are afraid of the darkness. So hopefully we'll get something a bit bigger about the darkness. Whether the brothers find out or we find out as the audience, I think something like that is going to happen soon. So with that said, what did you guys think of the episode? I personally liked it. It was interesting. It was unique. I definitely liked the little tidbits we got to learn from it. But what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos, whether it's Supernatural or any other videos I post. And don't forget to share it with all your friends from the Supernatural fandom family. Let's keep this fandom growing. Let's go past 11 seasons. Let's get the 12th seasons. And let's just continue this ride. It's fantastic. And with experimental episodes like this, as long as it works, I believe Supernatural can make it happen. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. And until next Wednesday, this is Mel wishing you all a great day and a great week. So bye-bye for now.